This week, a special edition of the Daily Buzz as we mark 30 years of the Business Journal by looking at 30 years of business growth.
Today's Business Journal Daily Buzz is brought to you by Home Savings.
Show your school spirit. Now at Home Savings, you can get a custom debit card with a high school logo on it. More choices coming soon. Member FDIC.
30 years ago this week, we published our first edition in the aftermath of the steel shutdowns. Thousands of jobs were gone, leaving the region with a doom and gloom narrative. But in time, many of those who stayed here and came here made a difference. I'm Andrea Wood, publisher of the Business Journal, and today we salute the difference makers who changed this region's narrative. We begin with the merger in 1993 of the Youngstown, Warren, and Niles chambers. That sent a message. Turf wars will not be tolerated. The business community is united.
Our goal over the last decade has been to get the diversity in the economy and really start to get the performance.
The chamber brought business, labor, and political leaders together. Campaigns secured new products for GM Lordstown. Infrastructure funding priorities were agreed upon. Job creation and job training resources were shared through the new OPEN Interstate Region and the Business Resource Network. And most importantly, the Youngstown Business Incubator was born.
It was a 12-year struggle.
The incubator traces its roots to the early 1980s and YSU's Technology Development Corporation. In 1995, with donations from the owners of the Vindicator, the YBI's first building opened. It's now the site of the America Makes Research Lab. In 2001, the incubator narrowed its focus to software development.
Our community didn't have the indigenous technology companies already co-located here like a Palo Alto does, like a San Francisco, Boston, or Austin do. Indigenous local companies that are shedding engineers every month to try their hand at their own startup. And so we knew it was going to be tough, and we knew there wasn't an existing model for us to copy, and we had to invent our own.
Today, 24 companies with a combined 420 employees are working in the four-building campus. Fundraising is underway to buy and renovate a fifth building.
My job for the incubator is to be a rainmaker, not only locally, but regionally, nationally, and even globally.
The incubator and its flagship success story, Turning Technologies, brought a new look and a new energy to Federal Street. So did new government buildings, town and gown links with the expansion of the YSU campus, and developers who saw opportunity in turning landmark buildings into residential units.
In downtown Youngstown, every building that has been developed for apartments or condominiums is completely filled, and there's more on the way.
Phil Kidd made a big difference when he changed the narrative to defend Youngstown, printed T-shirts, and opened his Youngstown Nation store.
There's just a different vibe in downtown, and I'm somebody who wasn't born and raised here, who came here to go to school, and I didn't even come downtown after 3 years of college until my senior year because I really didn't have a reason. I only lived right up, maybe 3 blocks away from here. And so just speaking personally, that's been my experience, is that I've seen a transformation from the late 1990s all the way to today that is very significant. And sometimes you lose perspective of how much has actually taken place when you're in downtown all the time. And I get a lot of people that come into my store that haven't been downtown in many years, and they're just blown away by how much has changed and how much circulation of people. That's one of the primary comments that I get, is how many people are actually just circulating through downtown day and night, every day of the week.
Big Jim London is another transplant who's making a big difference. Here's Michael Moliterno.
At 6'6" tall, James London, or Big Jim as he's come to be known, truly lives up to his name. But it's what he's accomplished in the last 8 years that is truly staggering.
The biggest challenge in our organization would be sustaining the enthusiasm of the people. not letting it go back to what it used to be.
Big Jim's journey to neighborhood icon started in the 80s when he was sent to prison on drug charges.
How I rebuilt myself is I started in prison. I started with getting my GED. I started with looking at education. What do I want to do with life? Reevaluate myself.
Against his realtor's wishes, London moved to the Idora neighborhood in 2006. After his van was broken into, London attended a local Youngstown 2010 meeting.
I came up to the thing, does anybody have any questions? I raised my hand and I said, hi, my name's James London. I live in Idora and I'd like to start a block watch.
Today, Big Jim is the president of the Idora Neighborhood Association, a nonprofit he helped form in 2007. Its efforts have included signage for the neighborhood, funding for the mural project, a block watch, a sunshine committee to welcome new residents, and a 4-H club, the Idora Wildcats, named after the iconic roller coaster from the Idora Park.
From the Youngstown Neighborhood Development Corporation to community gardens sprouting across the region, grassroots leadership is growing. More young people are staying here and even moving here, finding an open road for their dreams. Who knows what business success the next generation will grow? Here's Dan O'Brien.
What does this sound like to you? The sound of a quiet summer night? To Kevin Bachhuber, it might as well be the dinner bell.
Crickets are really good protein sources. They taste good.
Welcome to Big Cricket Farms, the first indoor farm in the country designed to breed crickets for human consumption.
So these are baby crickets. These are maybe hatched out in the last 24 to 48 hours.
Big Cricket Farms currently has around 1 million babies growing up and hopes to be raising 6 million by September. The crickets will live in these bins eating different fruits and herbs until they're 6 to 8 weeks old.
These crickets are destined to go to a food processor who's going to turn them into cricket flour. And the cricket flour is in turn going to be made into things like protein bars, chips and cookies.
Wow, that's good.
We've covered hundreds of difference makers in the last 30 years, the region's business challenges, the socio-economic barriers, and looked for the good in our business community's heart. Thank you for reading our print and online publications, our email headlines, and watching The Buzz. Our shareholders, consultants, bankers, advertisers, subscribers, and most of all, every one of our employees made it happen. You are the difference makers. I'm Andrea Wood reporting.
Today's Business Journal Daily Buzz is brought to you by Home Savings.
Show your school spirit. Now at Home Savings, you can get a custom debit card with a high school logo on it. More choices coming soon. Member FDIC.